Más que ustedes, sin necesidad de andar como esclavos. ¿Capichi? Esa es la diferencia tuya y mía. Que yo siempre voy a hacer dinero sin mucho trabajo.
Manhunt for squatters suspected of killing a woman and then stuffing her body into a duffel bag.
Police say the victim walked into the apartment in Kips Bay last week, found the squatters in the living room, and that would be the last time anyone saw her alive.
That's not going on. She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed is current and legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
When they show up and immediately rip down the sign of the leasing company or the owner company, you're kind of like, well, that raises a little concern. And then the next move is a locksmith shows up.
Let's go.
Oh! All right. You got mom jokes.
Squatters are executing home invasions and they are being given rights. The governor of New York held a press conference to explain that it is all a scam and that Congress is the one accountable. It can take several months or several years to remove a squatter from a home, and the squatters are finding these homes by the posted for sale signs. Obviously, when homeowners become aware of squatters residing in their residence, they contact the local authorities, in which case the squatter can produce a bill showing that they have done work to the home or a lease agreement. In some states, once the squatter has invaded the home, the homeowner is not allowed to change the locks, remove their belongings, or cut off the utilities. In this video, we are going to show you the 5 states, Florida, California, New York, Texas, and Georgia, and how the governors of these states control the squatter ordeal. And if you're residing in these states, how you can work around the law to force the squatters out of your home.
Invade empty homes and live there, saying under U.S. law, if a house is uninhabited, it can be seized, referring to squatting rights in our country. That video garnered almost 4 million views.
This so-called squatter scam is something that's happening around the country. There's even videos telling people how to go in and take over an empty house. That was never how the law was supposed to work. And in Florida, we are going to take action today to end this scam and to protect the private property rights of our homeowners. You should not have anyone go on your property and take it over and then try to assert some rights. It's absurd. We're going to put an end to it today, and we'll be leading the way yet again in the process.
The illegal migrant bragged that he came to the United States to vacation and now lives off U.S. taxpayers because he had a child in this country. He also tells his followers that he waits for Americans' hard-earned pension checks to come in every month. In another video, he is urging fellow Venezuelans to pay the fines of a 15-year-old migrant who allegedly shot a tourist in Times Square, saying, quote, "Today it could be him, tomorrow it could be one of you." But this recent video on squatting is making headlines, as Moreno tells his comrades that if they fix up an abandoned home that is deteriorated or in bad condition, they can get credits when the properties are sold. While Burling says that is not the case, the misinformation is now out there.
Lionel Moreno, who is a Venezuelan national, crossed the southern border into Eagle Pass, Texas in April 2022. From there, he was enrolled on what is known as the Alternatives to Detention program, which allows federal authorities to track migrants who enter the country illegally once they are released into the United States interior. Migrants who are enrolled in the program, like Moreno, are required to report to federal immigration authorities on their whereabouts in the United States while enrolled in the program. However, Moreno did not do that and was listed as an absconder from the program. Moreno regularly shares on social media how he scams the system to receive money from the federal government, food stamps, and shows his social security card in posts that we've reviewed. He claims that his wife and daughter receive $350 a month from the federal government, often flaunts the food and aid that they receive through the funding from these federal programs. Moreno originally told federal authorities that his intended address in the United States was the Catholic Charities office in Miami. He has since been seen in posts in Columbus, Ohio. When Moreno failed to report to immigration authorities as part of the Alternatives to Detention tracking program, ICE in Miami did mail him his court date. In one social media post, Moreno said that he has been in the US for over a year and has not had to work one day. He said, quote, "I've concluded that the American dream is real. This is food of the best quality that they just give you." In a separate post, Moreno said, quote, "Work is for slaves, boys. Remember that work is for slaves. Where have you seen a millionaire work? Don't humiliate yourself. You have to be creative to ask for money."
Yeah, the neighbors here have frankly lived in this cul-de-sac for more than 20 years, so they were shocked when some folks moved into a house that's for rent right behind me, the one you see right there. It turns out these people are not paying rent. I talked to the ownership company today, and they say they're trying to get them out.
My wife and I built our house 25 years ago.
Jim Johnson and his wife, Lark, were looking forward to some good neighbors when the for rent sign went up on this house in their cul-de-sac. But last week, they were shocked when a family seemingly moved in overnight.
When they show up and immediately rip down the sign of the leasing company or the owner company, you're kind of like, well, that raises a little concern. And then the next move is a locksmith shows up. You're kind of like, well, that's even more of a concern.
A call to the management company confirmed their fears. The new residents are not renters, but rather squatters.
They've gone to the grocery store. They've had cable come out. They are acting like they live there, but they have no furniture. They brought in a lot of blankets.
Hi, I'm Maya from Channel 13. Can I talk to you guys? Were you guys supposed to be staying here? When we knocked on the door, a young woman answered. Were you guys supposed to be staying here? Are you guys squatting? She didn't want to talk to us, but a short time later, the sheriff's department was called. The deputies have confirmed to us that they are investigating the squatting situation. But for now, this has remained a civil matter, much to the chagrin of the neighborhood.
Well, what's been frustrating is that I have a 12-year-old that I don't even let walk across the street to her best friend's house without watching her, and we've never had that problem.
The ownership company says it has filed eviction papers, but our experience covering these stories shows sometimes it can take 6 months to a year for the process to work through the courts. In Northwest Harris County,
considered tenants in the eyes of the law. Now squatters will soon face criminal charges for violating what was once within their rights.
39 yeas, 0 nays, Madam President.
In a unanimous decision, the Florida Senate is making it easier for property owners to rid their areas of squatters. Senator Keith Perry led the charge on House Bill 621 that allows property owners to file an affidavit showing the property doesn't belong to those who are occupying it. The bill creates stiff penalties for violators, like a second-degree felony for damage to a home and first-degree felony for fraudulently selling or leasing the property. The sheriff's required to serve the notice and remove unwanted occupants without delay.
The state of Florida is taking action. Governor Ron DeSantis just signed legislation that gives police the right to remove squatters as soon as they are found and makes it a felony to do more than $1,000 worth of damage to a home while squatting. Take a look at this.
Well, today in the state of Florida, we say very simply, what passes muster in New York and California is not passing muster here. You are not going to be able to commandeer in the state of Florida, ending the squatter scam once and for all.
And it is a scam. I know somebody in New York, 4.5 years, a squatter stayed in somebody else's house.
This woman is trying to get into the house, but her access is being blocked, and it's her own home.
Okay, hey! You want to assault? You want to
Get out of my home!
Tracy Albert and her husband Miles used their savings to buy this 4-bedroom dream home in Riverside, California 14 months ago, but they have not been able to move in, even though they've been paying the mortgage.
Said he wasn't leaving. That was it. Wasn't going to leave the house, barricaded himself in the house.
Now, after a 14-month battle, the squatter and his family have finally moved out. A neighbor's surveillance camera captured them pulling out of the garage and driving away.
We came here as fast as we could the next day to get let in, get the locks changed, and saw that he had still left some stuff behind.
Furniture.
Our cameras were there as movers removed each piece of furniture one by one, ridding the house of anything belonging to the previous owner.
Are you nervous that he's going to come here?
Yeah.
To everyone's surprise, the 5-bedroom home is in great condition.
When you first walked in here, were you holding your breath thinking, oh my gosh, I hope that the fixtures are there, I hope the stove is there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The walls were here. We didn't know what he was going to do.
But the Alberts say the entire ordeal has soured them forever on what was once their dream house.
I hate this home now, and it really does suck, but there's no way that you can, every time I drive up this street, it's just anxiety.
So do you think you'll move in?
At this point, I can't imagine moving in.
We are at the mercy of the squatter, the criminal.
After homeowner,
I don't have access. They changed my side locks and they changed my entire front door.
who are fighting with squatters who have taken over their homes. In New York, if you call the police on someone who moved in without permission, if they claim to be a tenant, they can't be arrested for trespassing. The homeowner instead has to take them to court. In New York, squatters have rights after 30 days. That means the property owner can't change the locks on them, can't remove their belongings, can't cut off the utilities, or they could be arrested. Instead, property owners must go through the court system to get rid of them, a system that could take close to 2 years.
Pointed fingers at Republicans as she addressed the asylum seeker crisis in New York and the fight for stronger border security measures in Congress.
The reason we have a lot of people coming in now is that the Republicans in Congress had an opportunity to literally shut down the border 2 weeks ago, and they refused to. So going forward, I think the question should always go to them.
Success in life, the ability to own a home, but maybe to even get a bigger one someday as your family continues to grow. That's why I know how important this is. I know this is part of who you are. There's a story I read in the New York Times a couple years back that I'll never forget about a woman who owned a beautiful brownstone. Brown communities are preyed upon by these individuals. And out of those cases, there's only been a handful of convictions because the law was not on their side. Sometimes people get pressured into signing agreements not knowing that they're actually transferring the deed to someone else. And that's hard to undo in court. Once there's that signature, it's hard to undo. Scams and scams and scams. A woman stole a deed belonging to a dead man who had the same name as her father. Who does that? She stole the property, hundreds of thousands of dollars. She went out and bought an Audi, fancy jewelry, artwork. So people can steal. They keep paying on a mortgage that no longer belongs to them. People hide behind these shell corporations. It's hard to find who the perpetrator is. Powerful story from Joseph and Jackie very soon. They were tricked into deeding their home to a sham LLC and then faced eviction. It also expands the Homeowner Equity Theft Prevention Act, allow homeowners to cancel a contract if they sell their property and if they're on a utility lien list, allows prosecutors to flag properties to make buyers and lenders aware of the issues, to avoid further transactions, so it protects them, and it makes changes to the legal process, giving victims more power to their rights in civil court. So today is an important step forward. Long overdue. Wish we could have protected more people before this day, but going forward, to be different income, and let the message go out to all of those. That's how we keep New Yorkers safe.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court. But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed.
That's not going on.
The man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
And so did you. You broke through the front door.
Officer.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a landlord-tenant issue. And by law, it has to be handled through the housing court, not with police.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show it? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Cool. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed is current and legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction.
Watch that. Safety on.
Everyone's a tough guy in cuffs, but you look like a pussy. Now I'm gonna make you. Now I'm gonna make you my bitch. Let's go.
Oh. All right. You got mom jokes. All right, let's go. Okay. All right, let's go. I'll stand up. Fucking walk. All right, come on, tough guy. Fucking walk.
Is a handyman who once removed squatters from his mother's home. Shelton is now using his experience to help others get squatters out of other homes. Flash Shelton, man on the right-hand side of the screen, joins us now. First of all, Flash, would you tell us your personal story? How did you get the squatters out of your mother's house?
Well, squatters took over my mom's house after my dad passed away. We were trying to sell the home. I called local law enforcement, and as soon as they saw that there was furniture in the house, they said that I had a squatter situation and they had basically no jurisdiction and they couldn't do anything. So I dissected the laws over a weekend. I basically figured out that until there's civil action, the squatters didn't have any rights. So if I could switch places with them, become the squatter myself, I would assume those squatter rights. Just in case they had a fake lease, like I hear some do, I had my mom write me up a lease. We got it notarized. I packed up my Jeep, drove up there, and paced out the joint around 4 a.m. I waited about 8:30 in the morning. 3 cars pulled out of the driveway, and I made entrance to the house. I put up cameras, waited for them to come back, and they didn't have a lease, so that never came into play. But when they came back, I just laid it out for them, told them that it was all locked up, cameras, and the only way they would get back in the house is if they broke in on camera, and I would prosecute. And I told them they had a day to get their stuff out, or the furniture was not theirs anymore.
But you couldn't have gotten them out unless they had left in their 3 cars in the morning. You couldn't bang on the door, walk in, and tell them to get out. You couldn't do that, could you?
No, the law would prevent me from physically removing them. However, being that I wasn't the homeowner, I had more rights. As a tenant, I would actually have more rights than them. So if they were there, then I would have just entered the home with a lease in hand. I would have just shown them the lease. I would have walked past them and said, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm moving in. This is my house now. And I probably would have just done anything and everything I could to make it miserable for them so that they left on their own.
Atlanta police made several stops to this Kirkwood, Atlanta property in the summer of 2021 about a machete-wielding squatter scaring the community. Kelsey Womack owns the business next door.
He was threatening to hurt my clients if they parked in front of the house that he didn't rightfully own. It's caused me nothing but stress. It's caused us to lose money. It's caused us to lose business.
Neighbors and business owners had no luck with police. Out-of-state ownership told us that Brandon Barkley had no right to be there. But they told the Fox 5 I-Team Atlanta police said they'd have to take him to court. The man living here eventually just moved on.
In my opinion, squatters are criminals. They're trespassing on someone's private property. And, right now they're being treated like they're tenants of that property.
Representative Devin Seaball sponsored with others the Georgia Squatter Reform Act. It passed unanimously this week in the Georgia legislature. He says if the squatters show a lease, real or not, the case gets gummed up in Superior Court.
And the process to remove them is long and arduous and could take, it's taken 8 months up to 2 years.
His bill speeds up the process.
What we've done in this bill is we've changed the jurisdiction to magistrate court, a non-jury trial. to expedite that. If they present a lease, they have 3 days to present that lease to the court. The court has 7 days to make a determination if that's a good lease or a fake lease.
Last fall, the Fox 5i team got a call from Ronan McCabe, a frustrated Tucker homeowner who discovered people living in his home that was empty and for sale. He called the police several times asking for help.
They broke into my house and moved in. They have no contract, no agreement with me. Gwinnett County Police are saying that there's nothing that they can do.
But then something did happen. Ramon Fuertes III was arrested. Not for squatting. Coincidentally, federal marshals were tailing him. Fuertes was arrested on an outstanding warrant related to child sex trafficking. If that hadn't have happened, he and his friends might still be living in this neighborhood. At the time, Representative Kim Schofield called the laws on the books outdated.
Why are we empowering scammers and squatters to milk this system? Come on, Georgia. We've got to do better than this.
Well, the power is shifting. The new bill awaits the governor's signature, and there's new hope that homeowners can again control their own property.